Alright, so we'll be working on a stopwatch program. It'll be a pretty simple stopwatch program, but we'll be able to combine the various widgets that we've learned so far, so buttons and labels. I'll show you what the final product should look like. So Python 3 stopwatch.py. So basically, this opens. As you can see, we have a window, and then we have 0, which is 0 seconds. When you click start, it starts counting 1, 2, 3, and so on. And it just keeps on counting. Then when you click stop, it goes back to 0, and the stop button becomes disabled. So that's what we're going to be working on today. So I've already typed all this in, from Tkinter import everything. Root is equal to tk and root.main loop, since you guys already know what all this means. So we'll start off by making the actual GUI. So right now we'll have the label, which is going to be number of seconds, which is equal to label, and then we'll leave this empty for now. We'll work on the text and stuff a bit later. Then we'll have the two buttons. So start counting is equal to button text is equal to start. So it'll just say start. It's pretty basic. And then stop underscore counting is equal to button text is equal to stop. That's pretty much it. And as you guys already know, these are just the variables of the widgets, the buttons and the labels, stuff like that. Now we'll actually put them onto the window using the grid method. So number of seconds dot grid, and then we'll leave this empty for now. Start counting dot grid, again we'll leave this empty, and then stop counting dot grid. And basically we want this to be on the first column and first row. So column is equal to 0, row is equal to 0, since they start from 0. And then okay, we'll leave this for now, and then this will be on the first column but second row. So column is equal to 0, row is equal to 1, and then this will be the same thing except column 1. So column 1, column is equal to 1, comma row is equal to 1. And then we want the label to span these two buttons, as we saw in the in this thing. Let me quickly do it again. As you can see, we have the two buttons over here, and then we just want this label to be above both of them, not only the start button. So for that, we'll use column span. Column span is equal to 2, so that it spans 2 columns. And so now, if we Python, if we execute it, we get this. So start, stop, and obviously this doesn't do anything yet. We'll work on that. And as you basically want the stop button to be disabled at first, because how can you stop a stopwatch that's already been stopped? So we'll do this here. State is equal to disable. And so let's quickly run this again. There we go. So start, and then stop is disabled. And so what we want the program to do is that when you click the start button, the stop button will get enabled again, and then it gets disabled once you click the stop button again. So let's make our functions. So let's quickly do this. Actually, do this. There we go. So for now, we'll have commands. So command is equal to start. Just that's it. And then command is equal to stop. Now I need to quickly make two functions. So def and then start, and then we'll just quickly write pass over here since we don't have anything in it right now, and then def stop, and then pass again. We'll add some more space over here for now, And then again, when we run this, nothing will happen since we don't have anything in the functions. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And so the start function, we want it to, basically we're going to have another function which counts. So the function will be called every second. And so all that the function does is it adds the number 1 to the current number of seconds, and it updates the label. So basically, let's just quickly make a new function. So counting, that's pretty much it. And then we'll put in password here. And what we want for this is to, first of all, we want the stop button to be, the state of the stop button to be normal. So we'll quickly do stop counting .config. Oops. And then we'll have state is equal to normal. So now, if you run it, and then we have over here, oops, kind of resized it. We have to change that later. So when we click start, there we go. The stop button, it becomes enabled, and it becomes normal. And then again, we want, when we click the stop button, we want it to be disabled. So stop underscore counting dot config state is equal to disabled. And let's quickly try this out again. So we have start and then stop, and then yeah, it gets disabled again. So we can just keep on doing this. Obviously, you can do it without disabling this button, but I don't know, I just like it like this. Now, basically, when the start button is clicked, we want this function to be called after 1 second, and so that's when we're going to use the after method. So let's do number of seconds dot after, and then so this is the milliseconds. So after 1000 milliseconds, we call this function, so counting. And so just to test if it works, let's quickly do print it works. There you go. Let's quickly run our program, and hopefully, and click start. Oh yeah. So after 1 second, so click it. Yeah, and after 1 second, it prints it works. And since we want this to keep on going every single second, we basically want to add number of seconds dot after. Then again, after 1000 milliseconds, we run this. Sorry, we call this function. So counting, and that's pretty much it. And then it'll basically start a loop, which just infinitely outputs it works. And so as you can see, every second it outputs it works, and it prints it works. However, what we want is we want it to print the number of seconds. So let's quickly make a new variable called seconds, and we'll set that to 0, so that it starts off with 0 seconds. Then let's quickly delete all of this for now. And basically, since this function is going to be looping every second, we want the number 1 to be added to this every single second. So we'll have seconds plus equal to 1. So that means it adds 1 to second. And then we want to, over here, text is equal to string seconds. That's where we're interested, because since this is going to be an integer, so it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we want to quickly convert it to a string, and then that'll be the text for our label. So basically the number of seconds. And we have this, and then we want it to update the number of seconds. So update the label basically. And then we'll do number of seconds dot config text is equal to, again, string and then seconds. And then basically after 1 second we want this to loop. So number of seconds dot after, so after 1 second, so 1000 milliseconds, we call this function, so counting. And then hopefully if we run this, yeah, so it starts off with 0 since we made the text equals to seconds and seconds is 0. And hopefully when you click start, let's start counting. Alright, so basically it says that it's been referenced before assignment, so we need to make seconds global, so global seconds. And basically what this does is it allows the variable inside of the function to be used outside of the function, and variables from outside the function to be used inside of the function. So let's quickly run this again. So click start, and then yeah, it updates every second and it just keeps on going. Then if we click stop, nothing happens because we haven't programmed that. And so to be able to make the stopwatch stop, we need to make a new variable called is counting, and we'll set it to false, since the stopwatch isn't counting as soon as we run the program. And so what we need to do is we need to quickly make an if-else statement inside of this function. So if is counting, so basically if is counting is equal to true, execute all this code. So we'll quickly copy paste that. There we go. And then else, oh, why did I put this here? Oops. Then else, we'll have just pass, don't do anything. And so we need, every time you click this button, we want this to be set to true because, you know, so that it starts counting. So is underscore counting equal to true. And again, we need to make this global, a global variable. So global, oops, global is underscore counting. And then let's quickly set this to global over here, since we're going to also use it. Is counting, there we go. And then this is basically, over here we're going to stop the stopwatch. And what we want to do is we want to quickly set the number of seconds to 0, so seconds is equal to 0, and then just update update the label, the text and label. So number of seconds, which is our label, dot config text is equal to string seconds, and then obviously we want to set is counting to false, so that since this is going to be looping every second, on its final loop, as soon as we click the stop button, this gets set to false. Then it realizes that this is no longer true, and then it just passes and it doesn't do anything and just basically stops. So hopefully if we run the program, it should work. Our program should work. So over here we have a program. Click start, starts counting 1, 2, 3, so on, and then hopefully when we click stop, as you can see, it sets it to 0 and it stops counting. And then when we click start again, that's weird. Oh, because we didn't make seconds global. We need to globalize seconds too. Otherwise, this becomes its own variable inside the function. Quickly global seconds, and now it'll set this seconds to 0, not its own seconds, because it's inside of its function. Right here. Crap. Okay. Click start. Let's make it count to 3. So 1, 2, 3. Stop, and then hopefully when we start, There we go. It restarts from 0. And also, we don't want people to resize this program. Let's quickly make it unresizable. So, root.resizable, and then false, comma, false. So you know the x and the y. And there, it's not resizable. I don't have the arrow thing, and then they can just use it like this. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys next class.